the world has long been fascinated by Johnny Depp. Not just the Hollywood star, but the complex, deeply private man behind the eccentric roles and brooding charisma. Over the decades, he's been at the center of adoration and scandal, but through all the chaos, few truly understood the intimate relationships that kept him grounded. One of the most unexpected yet profound of these relationships was his close bond with legendary guitarist Jeff Beck. Now, with the music world mourning Beck's passing, shocking revelations have emerged about how deeply connected the two were, and the ripple effect it had on Johnny's family, especially his daughter, Lily Rose Depp, whose emotional response has unveiled a side of their story the public never saw coming. Johnny Depp's friendship with Jeff Beck was not born of superficial celebrity networking. It was forged in the fires of mutual respect, creative passion, and shared emotional wounds. While Beck was known for pushing the boundaries of instrumental rock, his interest in collaborating with Depp went beyond music. It was spiritual. It was therapeutic. In Depp, Beck saw a man bruised by the spotlight, battered by personal battles, but still yearning to express himself through art. And for Depp, Jeff Beck wasn't just a mentor or collaborator. He was a sanctuary. A man who offered him a safe space when the rest of the world was eager to dissect his downfall. The bond they shared became even more significant in the wake of Johnny Depp's high-profile legal battles and the reputational storm that followed. His relationship with actress Amber Heard. While the public debated and speculated, Beck stood by Depp unwaveringly. And this wasn't just behind closed doors. Jeff Beck invited Depp to tour with him, to perform side by side, giving him not only a professional lifeline, but an emotional one. That tour in 2022 wasn't just a string of performances. It was a rebirth for Johnny. Each show became a form of catharsis. With every guitar riff and every lyric sung, Depp was shedding layers of pain, of public judgment, of self-doubt. Behind the scenes, however, the emotional weight of that tour and the deeper bond it symbolized was immense. Jeff Beck, though outwardly strong and musically immortal, was quietly facing his own mortality. His health was deteriorating, and those close to him knew that every performance might be his last. But Beck pushed through, in part because of his deep commitment to Depp. For Johnny, who had just come out of the most publicly scrutinized period of his life, the idea of losing this source of solace was almost unbearable. Friends close to the duo say that Johnny would often sit with Jeff in the quiet after performances, just talking, reflecting, playing unplugged melodies with nothing but raw emotion between them. When Jeff Beck passed away in January 2023, the loss wasn't just a professional blow for Johnny Depp. It was like losing a brother. Those who saw Johnny in the days following the news said he was utterly devastated. Not just because of Beck's absence, but because of the depth of what they had shared, something that had become, in many ways, a lifeline for Depp. He released a short tribute to Beck, filled with gratitude, but noticeably subdued. Observers noted that it lacked the dramatic flair typical of celebrity memorials. Instead, it was somber, almost whispered, as if Depp was still trying to come to terms with the void left behind. But what many didn't expect was the emotional reaction from Lily Rose Depp. Known for maintaining a distance from the storm that engulfed her father's life, Lily Rose had always kept her public persona carefully separated from Johnny's controversies. As a rising star in her own right, she was walking a tightrope, balancing affection for her father with the image she was building independently. Yet Jeff Beck's death broke that silence. According to sources close to the family, Lily Rose reached out to her father in one of the most heartfelt and vulnerable messages she had ever sent. In a letter, described by insiders as profoundly emotional, Lily Rose opened up about the way she had viewed Jeff Beck over the years. While she had met him only a few times, she always saw Beck as a stabilizing figure in her father's life. In the note, she admitted she had often resented the world that came with fame, the chaos, the accusations, the tabloid battles, but she had come to appreciate how people like Beck were necessary for someone like Johnny. She thanked Beck, posthumously, for being a calm voice in the noise, and told her father that she finally understood why he held on to that friendship so fiercely. The emotional revelation was more than a daughter comforting her grieving father. It was a turning point in their strained relationship. Lily Rose and Johnny had, over time, drifted, not from a lack of love, but from the pressure and public attention surrounding Depp's life. During the height of his court battles, Lily Rose remained conspicuously quiet. Many criticized her for not defending her father, while others praised her for staying above the fray. But in truth, she was torn. She didn't want to take sides, publicly. She didn't want to become another pawn in a war between adults. Yet Beck's passing and the vulnerability it exposed in her father stirred something deep in her. She could no longer keep her feelings bottled. Johnny Depp, according to a family friend, was deeply moved by her message. He reportedly cried after reading it and replied with a heartfelt voice note, telling her how much it meant to him and how proud he was of the woman she had become. It was one of the few moments in recent years where Depp allowed himself to be fully seen, not as an actor, not as a man defending his name, but as a father, grieving not only the death of a friend, but the emotional distance between him and his daughter. That note became the beginning of a renewed relationship, a reconnection that had eluded them for years. The truth is, Jeff Beck's role in Johnny Depp's life was not just that of a musician or a tour partner. He was a symbol of artistic integrity, of quiet loyalty, of healing. He didn't need the spotlight, and he certainly didn't use Johnny for clout. If anything, Beck often deflected attention away from himself to allow Depp the space to breathe and be something other than a tabloid headline. It was Beck who encouraged Johnny to keep making music, to write again, to tap into the creativity that once defined him long before the lawsuits and public ridicule. In their final months together, Beck reportedly shared unreleased tracks with Depp, material he had never let anyone else hear. They spent countless hours in a private studio in England, writing what Depp described to friends as some of the most honest music I've ever been part of. Much of that music has yet to be released, but insiders suggest that Depp is now considering turning those recordings into a tribute album, one that will not only celebrate Beck's legacy, but serve as a testament to the emotional journey they took together. Meanwhile, Lily Rose has reportedly expressed interest in being part of the project, not as a singer but as a narrator or contributor to the visual content that may accompany the album. Those close to the family say this idea came after a late-night conversation between father and daughter, where Johnny played her one of the unreleased tracks, and she quietly cried. It was a ballad, simple and stripped down, with Johnny's vocals, fragile and exposed, singing about friendship, loss, and memory. Lily Rose, who had long distanced herself from her father's artistic world, was suddenly drawn in, not because of the fame or drama, but because of the raw humanity of it all. As the months passed, Johnny Depp began emerging in public again, at film festivals, on stage, in small indie projects. But those who knew him well could tell something fundamental had shifted. He was softer, more introspective, more aware of the time he had left and the people he wanted to spend it with. Jeff Beck's death had reminded him of life's brutal impermanence, but it also gave him something unexpected, a second chance with his daughter, and a renewed sense of purpose. There is talk of a documentary being developed that will chronicle not only Depp and Beck's musical partnership, but also the deeply human journey they took together. Preliminary footage reportedly includes never-before-seen backstage clips, private jam sessions, and candid conversations about life, art, and death. What makes this project so unique is the tone, intimate, reverent, stripped of the Hollywood glitz. It is, according to one producer, a love letter between two misfits who found peace in each other's company. For fans, the revelations surrounding Johnny Depp and Jeff Beck have been nothing short of eye-opening. What once seemed like an odd pairing now reveals itself as one of the most emotionally rich friendships in either man's life. And for Lily Rose, the shock wasn't in Jeff Beck's passing, but in how it uncovered the depth of her father's pain and strength. Her emotional response, once guarded and cautious, now flows more freely, and it's clear that the relationship between her and Johnny is evolving in a way neither of them could have predicted. In a recent interview, when asked about her relationship with her father, Lily Rose paused and simply said, "He's been through a lot. I think sometimes we don't see the whole person behind the stories. I see him now." It was a short answer, but it carried the weight of years of silence, confusion, and healing. That brief statement was perhaps the most powerful testimony to the enduring influence of Jeff Beck, not just as a musician, but as the bridge that brought a father and daughter back together. as the world continues to celebrate Jeff Beck's contributions to music, a quieter but equally profound legacy lingers. One that lives not in stadiums or chart-topping singles, but in the heart of a grieving friend, and the tears of a daughter finally ready to understand him.